up and get you some answers to questions or any of the other issues that we may not touch upon during this discussion. So with that said, I'd like to get started for today. So I'd like to take a couple of minutes to tell all of you about the work that we do at Citizen Matters. We're a civic media platform, and so we work as a knowledge exchange hub, and we write on urban and civic issues, including things like water, commute, public safety, air quality, governance, education, and environment, among the many topics that we touch upon. And we're looking to bring civic media, data, diversity of voices from various citizens to make sustainable, equitable, and livable cities. So to this end, we've started having a series of webinars on topics that are for shaping look at this point of time was the master plan as the visioning exercise is underway. So we put together this panel to talk about how the second master plan's implementation went, what were the expectations of the public for the upcoming master plan that will be in effect from 2027 to 2046, which is the third master plan for Chennai. And what are the various avenues through which Chennai can make their voices patrons. Delhi Development Authority to take learnings from them and see how we can also make this participatory process. So go ahead, I just want to lay some ground rules. So whatever questions anybody has as part of the audience, please feel free to post this in the chat box. We'll also open the floor to audience questions, and we'll be taking questions through our social media as well through the course of the discussion. And we'll try our best to address each of them, like I said, during the course of the discussion, or in case that isn't happening, we'll try and get the answers to you at some point of time as soon as possible. So with that said, I just wanted to give you a question for to our panelists who've joined us today. So we have Mr. Anshul Mishra, who's the Member Secretary of the Chennai Metropolitan Development Authority. Thank you so much for taking time out to join us, sir. We have Mr. KP Subramaniam, who's a guest faculty with the Department of Planning, School of Architecture and Planning, Anna University. We have Mr. KM Sadanand, who's a town planning and development consultant. We have Ms. Rashi Mehra, who's an urban researcher from IIHS, and she's been part of the Maybe Delhi campaign. We have Jayanti Premchandra, who's a civic activist and a resident of Tirvanmir. And we have Mr. Ramarao, another civic activist who's attended many public hearings and consultations, and I think all of them have a lot to share on the process that they have witnessed so far. So how this discussion would be structured is that we'd pose a round of questions to perhaps each of the panelists in the first round. And I request the panelists to take 5 minutes to share your thoughts with us. And we'll get back with follow-up questions in the second round of panelists. This would take between any time, like maybe half an hour to 40 minutes, after which we'll open the floor to questions from our audience as well. And so I'd like the audience at that point of time. So I'd like to get started with bringing in Mr. Sadanand to talk about why a master plan is important to the city and why a layperson should pay attention to the preparation of the third master plan and how it can impact daily life in a city like Chennai.
Yeah, good evening to you all. Any plan is for the future. So particularly a master plan for a particular town is to take care each and every needs of various sectors of the people, various sector of the land uses, various movements like traffic or other transportations, including allocation of various land requirement for the future to come to fulfill the needs of the people based on the development in a systematic manner. That's the matter. In a systematic manner means in a phased manner. For the next 5 years, next 10 years, and the next up to 20 years, we should forecast and we should keep working on it almost 7 days a week, and in fact 24 hours a day. But we are not doing so. However, it's the very basic purpose of master plan is to fulfill the needs or cater to the needs of the people. In various land uses that we call, say, basically residential, commercial, institutional, industrial, and traffic and transportation and other business like warehouses, etc. See, for example, a master plan is when you travel for a particular tour, we start from your hometown to various stations, and we book ourselves. We are the agent book for us, and we keep moving various places, and our every travel are scheduled very well in advance, and our hotels are well defined, and it is booked for a number of persons and so on. Even if it misses at one place, we will be stuck and we can't move. It is very difficult to catch next flight or next destination and so on. This is for just to understand how difficult it is if we are stuck with one place. And similar is with like planning a marriage. Planning a marriage also systematically we define every our budget, our specific locations, number of invitees, number of dining area, and so on. So, but the same thing should be approached in our town plan, in our master plan. But more in our previous experience, how we did and how we performed and what was the result, all we know, and we can qualify it and we can quantify it in every area. But the qualitative and quantitative assessment is not yet made. This is my strong view, and it is not available in any of the department. However, once we get realized it's the importance of our master plan and the various component of it, it will be really serve the town and the people and so on. See, the master plan includes various analysis, recommendation, proposals for a site, or even if it is a small area. And when it comes to deal with the various, it's a particularly a town or a metropolitan in area, it basically we need to assess the population, economy, housing, transportation, and so on. It is we need to get the input from the public basically to understand their needs, which our third master plan is. It is very well started, and particularly to the compared to the first and second master plan, we had our planners with various background and various experience. Particularly this time, we have Mr. Anshul Mishra, who is an member secretary taking care of the third master plan right now. But the specialty is he is an urban planner with planning qualification. That's really should make a difference than our previous performance. See, in the last 1.5 year, he is really working. Otherwise, he is a little bit struggling to make the system in order, which is very well aware. And still, it is a very long way to travel. So we hope it will come through, and the various stakeholders will be placed in time in their own place with modus operandi, whatever way. So this is essential of master plan. In fact, if you look at our particular state context or Indian context, it is not well conceived and not well exercised. This is even at central government level, it is well assessed in the last 1.5 year. That is particularly in the year 2021 with Niti Aayog, who is the planning body, former planning commission, have well assessed it, and even they indicated the shortage of manpower and how the professionalism employed in overall town planning and so on. So the seriousness of that is yet to take place. This is my strong view. Once we assess something really lacking and very much lacking, we need to further take severe and serious action, how to rebuild the team and how to utilize the available team for our master planning. This is a really an important exercise and yet to get the momentum in our, particularly in our state. And I hope though several consultants are involved, but really the local expertise is yet to be utilized. This is our one of the requirement. And how to go about it is really a challenge, the administration to evolve further options. So in fact, if you look at the entire our states, we have prepared about 150 master plans, out of which the master plan prepared by CMDA, Chennai Metropolitan Development, only have now already 2 master plan, and the third one is taking place. Whereas none of the other cities have so far, and only the review keep taking place and it is keep coming up. Here, the common man understanding on a master plan for a city or town is not yet realized really well. If a master plan is really well attended and well focused, well prepared, and well carried out, normally people don't lack in their basic requirements. Say start from water supply, electricity, road, drainage, even storm water, or space for a school or industry, and the traffic and transportation or marketing facilities, the pollution or environment, whatever you name it, and it should be taken care by the master plan, and it should address specifically, and it should qualify and quantify various problems. But in our master plan, we are more we are focusing mostly the land use, that is land use, and thereafter we go for some development here and there, like markets or bus stands and even the metro stations and so on. But out of all, the primary requirement is housing. Housing is not well attended. That means the organized development for the even the builders or the normal public. We need a systematically developed land at an affordable cost. That's really matter. But here, that is though it is a evergreen problem and an issue in our administration, we are trying to solve it, but still we are gaining momentum, because a common man really understand when it comes to, he could only understand when in terms of approval, because an approval normally taking place, and particularly even in CMDA or in even Tamil Nadu, it is well assessed, and the government is very keen on making it to get it approved in 30 days or 45 days, and even single window clearance are also getting momentum now. So the importance of master plan, really it should be visualized, realized, and given importance by at the highest level, starting from the government to bureaucrats' mind and so on. See, like a master plan, it's not to be prepared by one department. It's a combination of over nearly 30 departments of both state and central. So, but basically, if you look at even in our second master plan, the implementing agencies mentioned only 9 bodies, 9 statutory authorities like CMDA, Corporation, PWD, ENHB, and Housing Board, and all. But the other, actually, real master plan is a collective master plan of each and every department that is being used by the public in their daily use. So this is to be this is as per Act, because if you look at the Act, there is a town planning board. Town planning board is consist of before it is about 25 departments, and now if you look at, you can add it another 5-6 departments, so that about over 30 departments should be involved in any master plan to in any states. But still, how those departments' involvement are being imported in our master plan. In the past, if you ask, I would say it's not much. Hardly about 10 departments only involved. So I wish the master plan preparation itself should have a manual, so that any person comes and who heads and who or subordinate of the head should follow such manual. My experience in Saudi Arabia is really comprehensive, and we have come in an environment where 200 professionals were working for Riyadh Municipality, Riyadh Development Authority, and the Royal Saudi Air Force, including the Tourism Development Department. In our role, see, the higher we will be accountable to someone, and we have to manage some team with a specific task, specific time, and so on. So such kind of an professional activity, professional dedication should be imparted in our master planning or town planning exercise. It's not just a job or not a career. So it is a responsibility to serve towards the future generation. That's the main point I would emphasize here. It's even the Karl Marx has clearly said
Am I
that
audible?
sorry,
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Am I audible?
can you
Can you
repeat?
hear me? Can you hear me?
Can
Um,
can you hear me?
yes, sir. Am I audible? Yes. I'm so sorry to interrupt, sir.
Please interview. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Hello all, I'm Shobna Radhakrishnan, senior reporter with Citizen Matters. I'll be taking over the discussion further. I'll get back to you on the points, sir. I'll just have to move forward with the discussion with other people. So I would like to bring in Rashi to this, she's been part of the campaign with Delhi. So I'd like Rashi to share her experience about the campaign, how you managed to achieve, bringing in participatory approach, and what we can learn from the Delhi master plan for Chennai. Please go ahead, Rashi.
Delhi was in 2018 when we set up our campaign called Maybe Delhi, which means I too am Delhi. And our campaign essentially started to make planning more inclusive and participatory in the city of Delhi. We wanted to involve citizens in the process of the drafting of the 2041 master plan for the city. And our main agendas were to look at and recognize that informality, both in housing and in livelihood, is the hallmark of Indian cities. So whether it be Delhi, Bombay, Chennai, informality is what shapes our cities. And planning sometimes can be quite contrary to the informality and auto construction that exists in our city. So how can people's lived realities be represented in the plan? Therefore, the campaign really looked at bringing in voices of people who live in informal settlements in Delhi, also called bastis or slums, or resettlement colonies or unauthorized colonies, and worker groups such as construction workers, domestic workers, street vendors, etc., waste managers of the city into the process of planning. Now, like Mr. Sadanand was going through the process and saying how complicated it can be, just the process of going and dealing with the state, or how do you have these conversations? It's a very technocratic document. Is planning really only for urban planners, or is planning also for citizens? And our contention and what we've been able to do in Delhi is to say that planning cannot happen without citizen participation. We cannot, we can use very technical terms, but once you break it down, and that's something that we were able to do with the campaign, because we, of course, had a run for 3-4 years, we are still at it, and was to really break down what the master plan is and workshop it really for many, many people. And for people who were then able to say, oh, I understand, this is where in the map my house is. And my house is marked not as a residential area, but I live there. So, these sort of questions and sort of really intense questions that came up were also turned into research. It's publicly available. We are at maybedelhi.com. All the research that we've produced is publicly held. I'll just quickly share my screen if I can, and I'll show you. Sorry, I don't think I'll be able to. But essentially, what we were able to do was to create research that was also easy to understand. So we translated it into 4 languages. Delhi officially has 4 state languages. So we translated from English into Hindi, into Urdu, into Punjabi, so that the research could be widely sort of be accessed. Also, we brought it down, and that's what it is. I think that when we talk about planning, everybody understands where they are going to get, where the bus stop should be. If you were to ask somebody, that's where the bus stop should be, they'd be able to tell you, and that's almost instinctive. You don't have to be trained to be able to say how you want to shape your city. And that is the right to the city that we speak about, right? To be able to shape the city that you live in. So I think for Chennai, it's a great time to sort of already start thinking, is what we'd say. We are happy to support from maybe Delhi and come in as researchers, as activists, as architects, as urban planners. We were all part of this campaign. And it would be to co-produce critical research. It would be to say what do women of Chennai want? And also then not look at women as a homogeneous group, but look at them as a heterogeneous group, different caste identities, disability, different religions, different economic status. It's very critical to kind of look at these kinds of identities as well in planning. And I know that it makes it messy and many people want to stay away from that, but it is the messiness of this informality that shapes our city anyway. So might as well get it into the plan so that the plans can be successful, because we've successively made these plans for metropolitan cities in our country, and they failed to really achieve what they set out to do. The other would be to intervene at the draft stage. So if Mr. Anshul's already here, would be to catch hold of him now and be like, sir, if you're having a consultation, call us in, have open consultations. We were very lucky. The National Institute of Urban Affairs, which drafted the plan, really sort of invited us in, and we ended up giving them a lot of research that was missing from their baseline. The other would be to also really demand that the baseline studies be public, because what are we basing our projections? Sorry, that's my 5 minutes, but I'll just take just a second and say it's very critical to mobilize the communities that are left out of planning imaginations. It is the many different forms of employments that are really running our city. There are city makers. So we cannot leave them behind when we think about planning. And our research shows that Street Vendor Act already exists. Also, waste managers know exactly where the dhalaus are, how the waste has to be managed, where they should be, where the sorting centers should come up, etc. We must look at gender, we must look at caste, we must look at disability. If we are talking about creating and letting that kind of diversity thrive in our cities. And so that kind of mobility must happen now, not after the plan comes out when people give in objections and suggestions, but before. And I'll just leave you with one snippet of maybe Delhi. This is the highest number of suggestions and objections the DDA, the Delhi Development Authority, has received for any plan ever. And it's 33,000 suggestions and objections. And maybe Delhi has filed about 25,000 of those. So, I'd love to continue talking about it. I'm one of the coordinators of the campaign. This work is really close to my heart and the heart of many people in Delhi. But I'm happy to sort of have any discussions later on. You can also reach out to me.
Thank you so much, Rashi. It was very helpful. It is very important to involve the public at every stage of these kind of plannings. And thank you so much for highlighting it. We'll stay in touch with you for further discussions as well. So I would like to move on to Mr. Subramanian. Sir, would you be able to share your thoughts on the second master plan and highlight some of the key issues from that master plan? And given the context of third master plan preparations now, and I would like you to reflect on the second master plan.
Thank you, madam. Will the third master plan meet the expectations of the people? Definitely, it will meet the expectations, provided certain course corrections are made. At the outset, we would like to express our sincere thanks to CMDA in general and our member secretary in particular for having taken this the vision document to the doorsteps of the people. Whereas this is the first city in the whole of India where even before our legal provisions provide for only to call for objection suggestions only after the draft plan is prepared. But our member secretary, because of his personal interest and initiative, now itself they have taken the master plan to the doorsteps of the people, which is really appreciated. Thank you very much, sir. With reference to the rolling up the process of the third master plan, we feel that the first step that is required when we introduce the process of the preparation of the third master plan is to take a look back, to review the second master plan. What were the proposals made, and how far we have been able to achieve the results? What are the lessons learned from that? We need to take a look at it first of all. Say, for example, the first and second master plan proposed for 4 new towns: Maramalai Nagar, then Thiruvallur, Gummudipundi, and Sriperumbudur. But excepting Maramalai Nagar, no other new town has been taken up. And so also the first master plan proposed 6 urban nodes along the 3 transportation corridors, like Alandur Tambaram, Ambattur Avadi, and Manali Menjur. Excepting Manali, no other urban node has been developed so far. Similarly, the master plan, the Town and Country Plan Act, Tamil Nadu Town and Country Plan Act provides that once in 5 years, the master plan should be reviewed. And you are also mentioning that there is a lot of gap between what is proposed in the map, or what is on the map, and what is on the ground. So this is only because none of the master plans so far have been reviewed. If had they reviewed the master plan once in 5 years and introduced the course correction in terms of the land and building use, then it will go a long way in helping the public, and it will be a hassle-free enforcement. But that has not been done for unknown reasons. Similarly, the second master plan proposed 5 review and monitoring committees in the 5 sectors, important sectors, with all expert members. It was the brainchild of late Mr. Dattatri, the first chief planner, who was one of the editorial committee members of the second master plan, and he proposed that the review and monitoring committee will meet once in 3 months and give the feedback on the implementation of the master plan, and so that it is corrected then and there, so that finally we are able to achieve the objectives. But excepting for the first meeting, all these 5 committees have gone into defined. Then the 60 DD plans, the CMDA has got 60 sanctioned DD plans, but none of them have seen the light of the day. All of them remain only as a paper plan. And another thing we want to request the member secretary is the TMPs would make a departure from the conventional master plan, which focuses on the land and building use and planning permission. So please, 90% of the energy and time is sucked of the CMDA is sucked only on the planning permission system, which is unwarranted and unnecessary. You please delegate the powers to the local bodies, enforcement, because they would be able to enforce, they would be able to regulate better, because they have the network of officers throughout the city and metropolitan planning area. So the CMDA should focus more on provision of infrastructure, traffic and transportation network, and infrastructure like basic amenities like water supply, sewer network, and social institutions, larger industrial investment. If you can take care of this, then we need not bother about the individual development. Say, for example, you are not Telangana model. Recently, the Telangana government has made an announcement that up to 75 square meter, there is no need to get planning permission. From 75 square meter to 600 square meter, all the applicant has to do is to upload the application and then get the acknowledgement. The acknowledgement is deemed to be the approved permission. And if there are any violations, then let the officials inspect and let them take the penal actions. So it should be liberalized. That is what we want to request. And the zoning regulation is in the first master plan, there were 10 classification of zones. In the second master plan, they have increased it to 11 zones. So it should be simplified, and it should be, all we suggest is you have only urban or non-urbanizable zones, say for agriculture, water bodies, then polluting industries, second, And third is all others should be urbanizable zone where any use is permitted. So if this is made as a zoning classification, that will go a long way in helping this, in making the third master plan to meet the expectations of the people, and also the enforcement of regulations and zoning regulations, a hassle-free one. Then, and again and again, one thing is, but in the stakeholders meeting also, first of all, the people should know what is a master plan, what is the scope of the master plan.
Right.
Because without educating, without creating an awareness of the to the people about the master plan and its scope, if then they will come out with all sorts of requests, which may not be sometimes relevant to the master plan.
Exactly.
So this is what is really happening. And also the vision document. The vision document is supposed to give you a direction for the future course of action. It is supposed to be a roadmap as to how the third master plan should take the development in different sectors. But that is missing in the third master plan. And I only request the members, Madam.
We will get back on this, sir. I'll get back to you on this.
Okay.
I'd like to bring in Mr. Anshul to, stress on the points we have mentioned now. So, Mr. Anshul, I would like to, hear from you, since Mr. Subramanian has pointed out that lag between implementation of the second master plan, the points that are in the second master plan and that were not implemented yet. So I'd like to know from you the challenges for the CMDA and how are we going to bridge that gap in the third master plan?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chennai Matters, for organizing this very important webinar. And I'm sure it is one in the long series of such webinars and seminars which we are going to undertake in future for the preparation of third master plan. As it was mentioned earlier, that the master plan 1 and 2, they envisaged a kind of development for Chennai in a manner that was basically expected, and the aspirations of the city of Chennai were reflected in the master plans. But it could not be implemented as it was expected. So that's where we need to understand what happened and why it could not be implemented. So we found that most of the master plans don't have a robust implementation plan. Now, implementation plan has two aspects. One is, which are the agencies which will implement it, whether they are on board, whether they have accepted the recommendations of the master plan, whether their own visions, their own plans are aligning with the master plan. So these are the questions which should have been asked. Probably it was not asked, and that's how the cooperation and coordination with other agencies and departments could not happen. The second thing is, which is very important, is the finance part of it. Now, master plan can be broken down into projects. All these projects, whether it is taken up by the CMDA or by any other authority, by any other agency, it requires funding of projects. And if we don't have a plan for that, projects will not be taken up. It's probably that's what has happened in Master Plan 2, as far as I can remember. Master Plan 2 is a very good plan on paper. But unless it is accompanied by an implementation plan, it is not going to happen. So I would say that I was discussing with the CMDA planners just a while ago. I was asking them, what do you think, what percentage of success Master Plan 2 has seen? So there were varied reactions. So I would average it out to 30% probably. Now, that is a poor success rate for any master plan. Having said that, I have to say that, as it was mentioned earlier by Rashi and Mr. Sadanand also mentioned it, that master plan preparation is a complex process. And it is also dynamic. And if we don't understand these complexities, we are probably going to put up document which is not implementable. So we have to understand that. For that, first thing is to understand the real aspirations of people. Sitting in an office with computers or with maps, we cannot decide how a city in future is going to look like. And in fact, it is difficult to decide how a city is going to look like, but we can actually provide the directions based on the analysis and based on the based on the understanding of the aspirations and expectations of people. So for that, this time we have, as it was mentioned earlier also, that we have decided that we will go to the people. We will try to connect as many as people possible, offline, online, through public consultations, through social media, etc., and try to gauge what people are thinking about their city in future. What is their real expectation? And based on that, only we can prepare a master plan. So for that, we have started a vision exercise. So first, we started a vision exercise. Can others please mute? So that was the so we have gone to we have decided to get people's to register people's opinions and their views and their expectations by engaging with them through consultations. We engaged a consultant for this particular work, and so far we have reached out to around 3,000 people who have given either offline or online response to surveys which we have. Now, this is a learning process for us also, because we initially had this survey comprising of some 10 pages or something like that. So obviously people would not want to go through the entire thing and submit. So now we have come up with a 2-page survey form, and it will be circulated soon, and we'll reach out to you through social media, through WhatsApp, through emails, etc. So that is the plan right now. Now, once this exercise is over, we are going to analyze that, what exactly Chennai people are looking at, what exactly is their expectation and aspiration, and incorporate that meaningfully, properly in the master plan. Now, sometimes public consultations happen, but whether the consultation has happened meaningfully or not, whether we are able to capture their aspirations or not is also a question. So we have to be very careful on that. I think Maybe Delhi has been a great campaign, and we can take lessons from them, how they did it. And definitely we are looking forward very positively for all such collaborations. So this is what we are looking at. I think I should stop here, and we can discuss further on various other issues or technicalities of master plan. Just one more point. While we prepare the master plan, people's aspirations are one. At the same time, we have to keep the larger picture in mind, that any city has to be an efficient and sustainable city. People may ask many things, or planners may propose many things, but it has to be sustainable. Now, for sustainability in a city, very important point is to understand a city is basically comprises of people. And if you take the purely economic explanation of how a city is formed, how an urban form takes place, it is the economy. It is the jobs or firms which are located in a place, right? Now, people move every day from their homes to the job place, the workplace. And that means the transportation, the entire transportation system in the city is very, very critical for an efficient, urban formation, which is called city. Unless that is taken care, we will not be able to have a quality of life. Because if you don't think about where people are going to live, you're not going to give them affordable housing in places where near their workplace. It is going to be very difficult for them to travel. And that's where the economy of the city comes into play. it becomes a problem for the city as more congestion, more transport cost, higher, longer trip lengths, and leading to then more cars on the street. Car dependency increases. Then that leads to pollution and deterioration in the quality of life in the city. So those things are all connected with our master planning activity, and we have to keep that in mind. So to take care of all this, the master plan should come out with policies and regulations which are going to, lead to a guided kind of development. So one example is TOD, transit-oriented development. We have public transportation, for example, metro corridors are there. If we densify the metro corridors, we will we will not have people struggling for transportation every day. It will be very, very efficient system. And we can also provide other facilities, including public spaces, including say urban square, large open parks in these areas, so that people get the good quality of life. The infrastructure requirements also can be rationalized, because in an urban sprawl which is not guided, which is a laissez-faire kind of development, where we don't use the tools of planning like FSI, etc. properly, the overall pressure on the city grows, and people keep constructing houses and commercial spaces all along the peripheries, and that's how city keeps growing. The pressure on infrastructure grows, the pressure on transportation grows, congestion happens, and it all becomes a mess. So that's most of the Indian cities are facing these problems. They're trying to tackle it now very technically, and we are in the process of discussing with many experts on these aspects. So this is just wanted to emphasize on the overall picture of a city, how a city operates efficiently. Unless it operates efficiently, it cannot be sustainable. We have to keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Speaking about the public consultations held by CMPA, we have Jayanti Premchandar on the panel. She has taken part in the public consultation in her locality, and I would like her to share her opinion, her experience about the consultation, and one particular thing that she would like to be on the third master plan.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. While I'm very glad that this consultation happened and we were informed and I could take part in this, is it really, CMD is really looking at consultation with the public is a big question mark to me, because while the COVID happened and while tree plantation happened, while Namak Nambe Tittam happened and vaccination drive, we were sent a message, we were called by the AE, we were called by the zonal officer, we were sent messages, email, but nothing of that sort happened at this time. We came to know only through NGOs and other activists and volunteers because of the different WhatsApp group. Even in the consultation where it happened, I'm from Zone 13, so Zone 13 consultation, I didn't see more than 50 people. This is excluding the consultant, volunteer, and the panelists and all those. So of 13 lakh people, 12 to 13 lakh people in Zone 13, only 50 to 60 people shows a very less number of representation. So, and even that, I think I saw anybody from any slum development or, settlement areas or vendors and any other, in panel for the consultation. So how serious are they about this consultation? Consultation is a big question that I have. So we had our MLA present from C, and we were not given a brief about the second master plan, what a master plan is, what are they looking from us. So no briefing of such thing happened. Various of us were mostly residents, citizens who were looking at day-to-day things. We did give our suggestions, and our MLA, and of all the councillors from 12 wards, only 2 were present. So they took a note down, our MLA, and they did take note of our suggestions. Where it's going to head is another big question. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Would you like to share one particular thing that you really wanted to be in the third master plan for Chennai?
Yeah, so I particular one of my requirement as a citizen you are asking, Shobna?
Yes, yes.
See, it
What
is
if you
basic.
want one highlight, that one thing that you really wanted to be in the third master plan for Chennai?
I don't think I can specify as a one thing, because as a citizen, it comes to basic amenities, it has to be basic amenities are your road that you travel every day, the sewer line that is permanently overflowing and under, it is not planned to the population that is. And I don't know when our roads were put 15 years back, though we have, our bureaucrats changing every 3 years, every 5 years we have election, but roads doesn't get done. And, we have our water problem, we don't get good potable water, our beaches, there are beaches and waterfronts are always an eye for CMDA, where they are only trying to do beautification as construction, but basic cleaning and, things they are not looking at. And they want us to plant trees, but our park department is the worst department in our corporation, the whole of corporation. So I don't think I would be able to say specifically as one thing. Basic civic amenities, day-to-day living thing is the most important that any citizen would like to, motorable road, walkable pavement, potable water, not overflowing sewer, and stormwater drain is permanent, is not a stormwater drain, but it's a sewer water drain. So, all these things. So I don't think I could shortlist that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to bring Mr. Ramarao here. He has taken part in the public consultation of the second master plan and the third master plan. So, sir, would you like to share in comparison, your experience, and also point out your demand for the third master plan?
Good evening to all the panelists and Citizen Matters for arranging this meet, and also CMDA member secretary to be present here. We are very grateful to him, and we have heard you are all the experts. I am a different because I am the end user, or I am the man who enjoys that. We are from civic activists from Nanganallur area. I have been in the right from the Alandur Panchayat Union, then Alandur Municipality, now Greater Chennai Corporation. We had a second, 1975, first master plan, we could not participate. But second master plan was properly consulted. Even we had meeting in Tambaram, about 400 people attended. And Sushma, Matthew Sushma, they attended, member secretary attended meeting. And where some points raised, we got the reply also. But contrary to that, this present, even though you had in 15 zones a different meeting and other places also, but the people who came, only 70 people, for example, in Alandur zone, the reason I had used, because I got the information only on 18th or 19th, 21st meeting. And many people, welfare association, they could not prepare in time, because we also have some difficulty in preparing, consulting and all that. So right at time, I also heard our secretary saying that you can give it by emails. Still, the personal consultation would have been better, and to throw light on the latest developments that is what is taking place from second master plan. As our Professor Subramaniam rightly pointed out, second master plan, only 2 cities are improved. Whereas you take up Bombay, Navi Bombay was created. The best roads, the best available civic infrastructure is provided. Similarly, that is about 1,108 square kilometer. It is the very best. Similarly, we expected, but that is not coming. And now you have done some good thing also. The CMDA I saw. Now you are told Tiruvusai, Meenjur, Tiruvallur, Kanjipuram, Chengalpet, Arkonam. Actually, it was 8,819 that reduced to 5,094 square kilometers. It has come down, good. What we want, and you also declared a 15-minute city. We are the end users. We expect what you say that should translate in words. That is because others are experts who have spoken. That is for the CMDA to give advice and But you say within 15 minutes time, I should reach the shop, or I should reach the work spot, or at least to connectivity to a transport system. So this also should within 8 months, you said you are prepared. The delay, mainly the delay in the government circle, including CMDA, is the problem. And we see that CMDA, after designing and policy making, it should leave it to the GCC or Panchayat or the local bodies to implement it. That is what we have been repeatedly saying. And you also, good one thing I would like to comment, about 420 city roads are to be developed, widened. I really salute the CMDA. That should come into practice. And also, from 200 crores have been allotted. I saw that in the press. Then a good idea, lake. We have been fighting many city lakes. There are 3,400 lakes in and out Kanchipuram, Chengalpet, Chennai. Now mostly disappeared. Very few were available. I am in Exnora. Our Exnora founder used to call it lake pond concept. Now there is no inlet or outlet. Now make it a pond. For example, I am in Nanganallur area. Adambakam is you can make it a pond. Go to 20 feet deep. Store the water. That will help you during summer, because Chennai is not a place where we get always water. It's a water starved city only. So a new approach we require for new when problem comes, we have to approach. There is no point in allowing 300 centimeter of water and leave it to the Bay of Bengal, and then again get spend 5,000 crores and bring the same water back. That should be avoided by, even in Singapore, I know they are bringing drinking water from the sewage water. And also major parks and playground, government land. For Chennai, we have got Porambok land. We can make it and make a tank and everywhere store the water and use it when it is necessary, when we are in this. That should be done. Then FSI increase. People are glad. You take example our Georgetown area. The 20 feet road only Angapanak Street. You are not going to like. And if you are vertical construction, if you allow more and more, I don't know what will happen to your sewage system, water system, and other utilities. So there will be a serious problem. Before FSI, for such places at least, there it is a new colonies, new places beyond suburban area, there is some possibility. But I think you had a consultation meeting, but we did not know what is the result in such a highly density area. How your approach of there, you consulted, I know people would have given suggestion, but it is for CMD to take note of this, how utilities will be made available to the common man. Then, see, we require public transport, but in Chennai city, the bus is traveling at 15 kilometer, 11 kilometer speed only. Why? Traffic density. You have brought CMRL, good. But there also I would like to point CMRL. It's funded by Tamil Nadu government and also center. The fare should not be exceed the 50. What is the limit? It was 70. It was after a great our protest. It was brought down. You should keep in 5 rupees. I can travel from Tambaram to beach at 10 rupees. Even a mason can travel. So CMRL is not able to do that. So the transportation has got to be improved for a big city. And BRTS, we have been telling for 20 years. The corporation, MTC has given to 3 or 4 companies for consultant paid money, nothing came up even today. So
sir, I'm sorry to interrupt. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I would like to bring in the audience now. Mr. Prashant has raised his hands. Mr. Prashant, please go ahead and ask a question.
Questions in the chat. You can take that.
Hi, this is Prashant here, Prashant Gautam. I'm a resident of Perangudi. Sir, to the CMD officials on the call, I had a couple of questions, sir. I think you already answered a part of it as well. With respect to, what is the success rate of your previous master plans that we are, moving ahead with the third master plan, right? One more new master plan in the offing. I fondly remember the second master plan that I was part of in the ribbon building, right? Where CMDA sought residents' feedback. We all gave a lot of feedback, but out of that feedback, I don't see groundbreaking reality on the ground, right? I don't see much of a change on the ground with respect to the second master plan, especially with respect to sewage, garbage, related dumping, and stuff like that. Having said that, are we having a concrete plan on having 100% sewage treatment for Chennai city, the existing Chennai city, without letting out, the excess water excess sewage, into the rivers, and half-baked, sewage treatment and stuff like that, right? So that is number one, sir. The second thing is with respect to Pallikarnai marshland, right? What is that we have as a proposal now that it has been named as a Ramsar site? We have. I've been, following up on some encroachments on Pallikarnai marshland. I see as recent as 2017 when, some new pattas have been given out. And the entire right side of the road, Pallikarnai marshland on the entire right side of the road, the CMDA map shows very clearly that it's marked as an institutional zone. So I'm still not able to understand how can a marshland be marked as an institutional zone in the official map of CMDA. Right? That was very, very concerning. And that is exactly where, these land plots are being laid and, debris are being dumped into the water on the marshland today, as we talk also, right? But of course, they have pattas today, right? Those people have the pattas. Just wanted to reiterate that. And the last thing, sir, now we are moving into a more dense populated areas, right? Do we have plans for a vertical growth in the city of Chennai? And, how will our existing sewage or water supply systems, match up with vertical growth of our cities, especially the CBD area, right? Mount Road area, which is going, I see a lot of new developments coming around that area, right? A lot of old buildings going away and, giving room to high rises and things like that. So do we have a plan for vertical growth in the city? Yeah, thank you. That's
Shall I respond to this?
Yes, sir, please go ahead. Thank you, Mr.
Okay, so you asked 3 questions, I guess. So let me respond to the Pallikarnai marsh. So the master plan, the land use plan in the master plan is basically done based on the survey records. Now this marsh area, which is as per the survey records, as per the revenue records, that cannot be touched. However, the catchment area near the marsh or any other water body, that could be a private patta land, but that could have been identified as either institutional zone or recreational zone or open space, or maybe a water body or anything else. In the master plan, in an effort to protect or increase the area of this particular eco-sensitive or area or a marsh or a water body, whatever you call it. But remember that there may be a possibility of these lands are patta lands. So what happens? We make extra effort to or get some compensation to the people who own the but we have identified it as either a marshland or a water body or legally it is not possible for us to just take the land from them, right? There will be court cases, there will be obviously the right to develop is also a kind of right for people who own the land. Any of you who own the land, you would like to do something with the land, either sell it or develop something. So there is a gap there. The gap has not been filled by legal kind of the policies and the laws in that area, which we are trying to address now. We are proposing transferable development rights to protect the water bodies by proposing the buffer area along the boundaries of the water bodies. So, for example, I'm saying for the rivers, we are proposing 50-meter buffer both sides from the river line. So, even if it is a private land along the river bank or within that 50-meter, we should be able to take that land by using transferable development rights to that person who can then sell it in the market because he would like to use that land for his purpose or maybe sell it or whatever. So he can, instead of that, he can take this transferable development rights from CMDA or from the other local bodies and use it. So that is one proposal which we are having. I hope it is accepted by the government. It is based on the model of Telangana. So Hyderabad is following this model. So for river, they are having, I think, 30 meters right now. But for the lakes and for the other water bodies, they're having a varied kind of, buffer zones, so 20 meter, 15 meters, something like that. So that is one thing to tackle this problem of, seemingly encroachment in the Purumbok land. So that is one. First question was about the, I think, sewerage system, it seems. Now, please understand that, these infrastructure facilities for any urban area cannot be just put in place in a year or two. It takes long time. Even to conceptualize, even to have that idea of putting up a big infrastructure in the city itself it takes time. And, because cities grow, and unfortunately, cities grow faster than we can provide the infrastructure. The rate of growth of infrastructure is slower than the rate of growth of the cities, the build-up area. So that is a challenge, and there's always a catch-up. So most of the central, the core areas of the city will have underground sewerage system, but outer areas will not have because it will be catching up and coming there. So that is a challenge for urban planners. Because since we did not plan it properly, we are seeing this urban sprawl going everywhere endlessly. And then we have to reach out to these places and provide these facilities like underground sewerage system. At the same time, another thing happens, and that is because of unregulated growth and illegal constructions, the density in the city also increases at some rate. Not at the rate which I would expect legally, because I'll come to that later, but their demand also keeps increasing. And unless we upgrade the existing trunk infrastructure like sewerage system or water supply, for example, there's a diameter pipe, right? Some diameter is there. If we require more water to go from that pipe, we require a bigger pipe, right? So that needs to be upgraded, and that is a huge work. And I can give example for Coimbatore. I was commissioner there 10 years back, 12 years back, and for implementing the underground sewerage system in Coimbatore, in the remaining part, already they have 1/3 already had sewerage system, and we had to do the remaining part around 2/3 of the Coimbatore. That was only 100 square kilometer that time. Chennai is 426 square kilometer right now. So that itself required 700 crores. Now, money is another funding, and money is another issue. Coimbatore Corporation's overall budget was some 300 crores. We had to get money from JNNURM and from other sources and all that. So it is a very difficult task for government, notwithstanding the complaints of not using the funds available properly, corruption, etc. That's a different issue. Whatever, even if we have funds, we have availability of funds, the projects take a lot of time to be conceptualized and implemented. Any underground sewerage system in any city takes minimum 7 to 8 years to implement. By that time, you have another set of demand from the peripheral area. So these are the challenges which we have to understand, but it's not that it's impossible. Many of the cities in the other countries, and I'm sure you must have seen cities in US or Europe, how they are managing. We just need to follow them. We need to organize our funding. We need to plan it better, plan it in advance. That is the challenge which we are facing now. I am sure with the new thinking, the new thought process in CMD and elsewhere in Tamil Nadu, I think it is happening everywhere in the country. I think we'll be able to tackle that. The third question was on, I'm sorry, I missed it. Vertical development. Now, this is a question which I really love to answer. You know why? Because when you talk about vertical development, people think that there'll be more concrete and there'll be more density. So it will have an adverse impact on the infrastructure. Obviously, so the quick answer to that is you upgrade your infrastructure. You can't just keep shying away from vertical development. Vertical development is very important, please understand. Everybody needs a place in the core of the city. Even poor person needs a place there. So give affordable housing inside. All the affordable houses from developed by Urban Habitat Development Board are on the periphery, somewhere outside. How a driver or a maid or a vegetable vendor will come from that place to the core area and do his business or provide services? It's very difficult. So we have to provide housing. Unless we go vertical, we will not be able to provide affordable housing to people. So, so that has to be understood. Coming to the infrastructure availability, so we have to upgrade. We need money for that, and for that we need to use the other tools of value capture land value capture. So if you provide vertical development, obviously you can capture some value by levying extra fee or whatever we call it. I think Hyderabad has many models. We can use some of that, or we can increase the fee which we are collecting in premium side. Funding can come for the upgradation of infrastructure. And for that matter, if you see, you would have seen many countries, many cities in the other countries. You think in New York, they first laid the infrastructure and then allowed the vertical development. No, it all happened simultaneously. And vertical development will not happen in one day. It will take years. It will take 10 to 15 years to have our own Times Square and have vertical buildings on an SLA. Definitely. And along that, we need to upgrade our, infrastructure, water supply, sewerage system, the road system, and put a very robust public transport system. That is the prerequisite. Otherwise, again, more cars will be there on the road and it will be difficult to manage the traffic. Unless you have a very robust public transport system, vertical development may not succeed. That is one, plus the infrastructure upgradation is required. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just on the land transfer rights that you were talking about, that's a very good plan that you proposed. But on the reclassification part on the water bodies, right? On one side, CMD is proposing for land transfer rights, and at the same time, we're also reclassifying water bodies into institutional zones or commercial zones and providing this. So this is a contrarian. Contradictory approach, right? So why would CMD reclassify?
I'll clarify. No water body, as per the records, revenue records, has been classified as a non-water body. This I can say for sure. But you're seeing in the news and you are seeing in the media that we are classifying water body into some other categories. What happened that the previous thing I was mentioning about the classification, which was done by master plan, using the survey records and lithomap with the inclusion of catchment areas also as water body, which was actually a patta land. And when people went to court, the court asked me, how can you classify this as water body when the person has patta? So I had to reply. So technically, legally, the person says it is a patta land, you have wrongly classified it water body. Having said that, CMD can still classify something as any land use, but unless you give provisions for compensation for the land which belongs to a private person, as per the records, it's not going to be successful. So technically, we are not classifying any water body into a non-water body category. But at the same time, we must try and protect the water bodies as it is, plus the catchment areas if we want to, put another layer of protection to these water bodies. But there has to be a legal system for that. for getting that land.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Prashant, for your question. We just have time for one more question, quick question. Mr. Dayanand, I would like to bring you in. Please keep the question short. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, you have disabled my video. Can you just
go ahead?
Sir, the issue is in Chitlapakam, we have a peculiar issue, like the development is continuously happening. And for example, for CMDA is giving a lot of approvals and the local body is also giving a lot of approvals. And because of that, they are not taking care of the daily water supply need, or if there is any underground infrastructure requirement to be provided, and such considerations, even the roads or proper roads or stormwater drains or all the basic things, there is no consideration from the approval authority. Because of that, what we face is in 2019, there is a very very low quantity of water supplied by the Chitlapakam Panchayat. Say for around 50 lakhs, we are receiving only 4 to 5 lakhs of water. And since CMDA and the local body is continuously approving, the population is around 60,000. The water demand is around 60 lakhs. With 5 lakhs, the continuous extraction from the groundwater had depleted our groundwater table, and a lot of people were put into severe hardship by buying water, by spending a lot of money on extraction. Like for groundwater, they put 3 or more bore wells. And this kind of development, we feel, is not at all monitored by CMDA. So what is that you are going to do? Like there should be some connect between the CMDA, the local body, in giving approvals.
Got your point. Can I respond? Okay. On the approval side, I have to explain to all of you. I think many of us do not know. The approval has 2 aspects. One is planning approval. Planning approval is for the plot. The plot, which is land parcel or the plot which is available there. CMDA or any development authority, or for that matter, LPA, local planning authority, which is under DTCP, we give planning permission. And our criteria is obviously building size and height of the building has to be mentioned. Our criteria is the setback, the height of the building, and the road width. These 3 things we see to give you a planning permission. Okay, this much floor area, this much height of the building you can construct. You have to leave these setbacks in the parcel. And this is the road width, and you cannot go beyond this height for this road width. So this is 3-4 things we see, and we give planning permission. There are many other rules and regulations which we follow, and we give as a conditional thing for planning permission. But as far as the building per se is concerned, the building permission is given by the local body. So after we give planning permission, it goes for building permission to the local body. We have our rules are combined, planning and building permission, PNCDB are combined development building rules, planning and building rules. But as per the law, the local bodies are supposed to give building permission because they are going to provide the basic services and the public services, the utilities, etc., for the people who are going to live there, and the houses or commercial, whatever is going to come up. So these 2 things are different. So what happens, and within these powers, CMDA has delegated some powers of planning permission to the local bodies. That is for the smaller development. So 1 house or 2 houses, or maybe in GCC, it is building G plus ground plus 2. 18 meters, 18.3 meters height building. So that permission is given by GCC itself for planning as well as building. Beyond that only comes to us. For other local bodies, it is, I think, 12 meters, if I'm not wrong, 12 meters height building. So that delegation power is also. So a lot of these permissions are being given in the local body. Now, the problem is, the local body is not able to monitor this because local body is focusing on more build-up area because that increases their property tax. If more building is being constructed, more floor area is being constructed, it will translate directly into the property tax. Now, property tax, they collect not because they want to amass wealth to something. They have to invest this, they have to spend this property tax for the provision of the facility. Now, remember when I said the rate of growth of build-up area is far ahead than the rate of growth of infrastructure facilities. That's where the catch-up happens, and that's where you people feel the pain. I understand completely. I have been commissioner of municipal corporation in Coimbatore. I completely understand. I empathize with you that this is a problem, especially in the peripheral area. Now, Chitlapakkam is the peripheral area, I guess. Tambaram, near Tambaram, right?
Yes, a 3 square kilometer town with 60,000 population.
So that is the problem. Now, Tambaram has become a corporation. Probably it will get more money, more funding from the state and central government. So it will be able to take care of that problem. But immediate solutions will not be there unless we come up with solutions, come up with strategies of arresting the urban sprawl, arresting the horizontal development in the city, and promoting the vertical growth. So that is one of the strategies. There are many more such strategies to provide. As long as infrastructure requirement is concerned of existing build-up areas, existing dwellings, infrastructure is definitely required. Water supply is required. So it takes time, and as I said, it takes a lot of money and a lot of effort in providing the facilities to each and every house. Tap water in the house, it requires a lot of infrastructure, a lot of efforts and money. It will come eventually, I'm sure. But by the time it reaches to your house, next level, people will start demanding that because we don't have, because every pipeline has to be laid, right? So that is a big challenge. And overall, if you see at Chennai's picture, I think they have right now they're providing they have 800 MLD they're providing on per day daily basis. Requirement is around 1200 MLD. So there's a shortfall, but the desalinization plant is coming up. That is around 400 MLD. So once that comes up, they'll be able to meet the entire demand of Chennai Corporation.
Yeah, the only one request is, sir, when you're going for converting the land from agriculture, because you're going on the third master plan and you're going to expand the city, what we are feeling as a citizen of this particular Tambaram area is, when you go for expand, kindly every year you go for reviewing with the local body the number of approvals given and how is their water supply demand and the underground drainage. Such monitoring connect is required from the planner side, so that every time the residents cannot be put to hardship, then the petition. For example, for 16 years, we are petitioning the government to provide the water supply connection. Till date, they have not provided in Chitlapakkam. It is very hard. It's very tough for us. And 2019, it was like ground zero level. Luckily, after that, we had the regeneration of Chitlapakkam Lake. Now the groundwater is somewhat little bit better. But if you're going to urban expansion, if you're going to expand, without having this connect with the local body and CMDA, people are only suffering. So consider this. And every year, if you could review the local bodies building development and have a consideration for water demand and sewerage demand, and these factors if you could include in your master plan, so that future people who are buying the properties will not suffer, sir.
Your suggestion is well taken. Thank you. And we will try to find the best strategies to incorporate this and implement this suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Danan. Thank you, Mr. Anshu. Since we're running out of time, I would like to take time to thank all the panelists for sharing their thoughts today. A summary of this conversation will be available on our website next week. And if you have any other questions, you're free to come and post it on our Twitter. We'll try to get back to you with the answers. Mr. Anshul, thank you very much for.
Before you close, Shobna, just a point wanted to point out. So we are having a visioning website also, and we are displaying this QR code on many of the important areas like malls, etc. I just want all of you to note down, and if you have not, submitted your responses, please do, and also circulate this as much as you can. So www.cmavision.in. I'll repeat. Yeah, I think it's in the chat. www.cmavision.in. Please use this website to give your responses. It will be very, very useful, and circulate it in your WhatsApp groups. I'm sure you must be in WhatsApp groups of this thing. And I look forward to more meaningful and more intense consultation and interaction with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you everyone for joining. Have a good evening.